On the news tonight, Anambra state government takes Anambra teaching on air campaigns to rural communities. Market women join in the fight against increasing cases of sexual crimes, seek stringent laws to deter perpetrators. As NDDC crisis deepens, House of Reps Speaker Bajabiamila says Commission has failed in its mission. And Turkey loses 7 security personnel on surveillance mission to Kurdish-held areas. Coronavirus is real. Stay alive, stay safe. Remember that wearing of protective face masks is compulsory in Anambra State. The faulters are liable to a 10,000 naira fine, community service, or both. Welcome to Evening News Tonight. I am Ifi Aronokafo, and now the detail. Anambra State government has kicked off a sensitization campaign to enlighten the rural population on the need to ensure that their children and wards participate actively in the ongoing radio, television and online teaching organized by the Ministry of Basic Education through Anambra Broadcasting Service media platforms. According to the Commissioner for Basic Education, Professor Keito Menuga, the campaign, which will cover 8 rural education zones across the state, is scheduled to commence with Anambra East and West education zones. We have details.
Addressing women at Ekotocha Market, the special advisor to Governor Obiano on public orientation and special duties, Mrs. Ifio Binabo, informed them of the schedule of studies for both secondary and primary school students, stating that the Ministry of Basic Education ensure that all subjects and all classes are taken care of in the daily program. Honorable Binabo reminded parents, especially mothers, of their responsibility to collaborate with government in its efforts to cushion the effects of COVID-19 on the education of Anambra State students, and encouraged mothers to always prepare their children, especially those at exam classes, to take the program seriously.
Coronavirus, stand still. But education cannot wait. But education must go on because of our children. In as far as Nafano, I am now Kusili Fakupa, even at the comfort of their homes. Kaikolo Nugatania Kabiko, no hour. Upon Uno, Unuga free fight in Akeba. Ifabo, Major Kusilu Mazianife, na radio and television.
She also warned mothers against distracting their children from the exercise by engaging them in domestic errands during the scheduled study periods. Mrs. Obinabo, however, lamented that most people in the rural areas are yet to come to terms on the need to strictly adhere to COVID-19 protective measures.
And still on building children for the future, the Speaker, Anambra State Children's Parliament, Ms. Faustina Mary Okoye, has commended the management and staff of Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS Oka, for their untiring efforts at giving voice to children and creating content that are geared towards holistic child development. The Speaker, Ms. Okoye, made the commendation when she led members of the Parliament on an advocacy visit to the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the ABS, Chief Uche Nwora, in his office in Oka. The advocacy visit is facilitated by the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program, assisted by the European Union. Correspondent David Obowasali reports.
Ms. Okoye stated that the platforms provided by the ABS has helped to give children in the state a sense of belonging as people who are important to the Nigerian polity. She requested, however, that more airtime be dedicated to programs that will sensitize people, especially children, on Child's Rights Law 2004, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law, and the Disabilities Rights Law, and for more coverage of the sittings of the Parliament to help children participate in decision-making in the state.
The Children's Parliament holds sittings quarterly. We plead that at least one out of them should be fully televised. This is to enable children from hard-to-reach areas to be involved in the decision-making process and be aware of their full representation at the Parliament. We will regularly write and submit news commentaries and articles that pertains to issues concerning children. To avail ourselves at any point where you require the presence of parliamentarians on occasions of children's programs in order to further your good works and intention.
Responding, the Managing Director of ABS, Chief Nwora, said the establishment understands that children are pivotal to the society as the drive of our future and therefore always ready to promote the things that will ensure the full capacity development of children. He reassured that given the importance the Anambra State government has placed on children and young people, ABS will continue to develop and create programs that will give more voice to children.
In His Excellency as well, he supports a lot of activities, involving young persons. You guys know also that in this government, the governor has empowered so many young persons to giving them political appointments and all that. So I would say the administration is a youth-friendly one. So I want to thank you for coming out to visit us today. I want to assure you that we always support you, because we are parents and we have children like yourself.
The speaker, Ms. Okoye, was accompanied to the visit by the male ambassador of Anambra State to the Children's Parliament at the federal level, Mr. Daniel Ezako, a member of Anambra State Children's Parliament, Mr. Prof ZEKWES, and the consultant, Anambra State Children's Parliament, Mr. Emeka Ejide. Present at the visit was also the head of television ABS, Mrs. Ifi Onachukwu. In Oka, I am David Obokwase reporting for ABS News.
Well, the United Traders Association, a non-governmental organization in Anambra State, has lent its voice to the many voices calling for stringent measures to be put in place against rape across Nigeria. Members of the organization, which comprises of market women across the state, staged a peaceful demonstration visiting relevant institutions to express their grievance against the crime. Queen Anibogo has more on this.
The exercise kicked off from Anambra Broadcasting Service Corporate Headquarters at Aroma Junction, Oka, to Anambra State House of Assembly and terminated at Anambra State Police Command, Amod. In her address, the president of the group and sensitization of people on the need to be vigilant as well as assist security agencies to protect the girl child, women and other vulnerable members of the society from rapists. At all levels to take more proactive measures to end rape in Nigeria.
I am here today to express our worry and the concern about the increasing cases of rape and killings of young girls and women across the country. This is a dangerous development in every civilized society that should not be allowed to continue. We sincerely believe that still punishment like death sentence will help to discourage and curb the menace.
In his response, the Deputy Speaker, Anambra State House of Assembly, Dr. Pascal Abodike, condemned the rising cases of rape across the country and assured the organization that the State House of Assembly will enact more stringent laws against the crime to serve as a deterrent to culprits.
The case of rape causes a lot of damage to every person who experiences it. That is why we should all work together to fight against it. Anambra State House Assembly has legislated against rape, against abuse of a girl child. So we condemn it, and as we have already pleaded in your letter, we must heed to the advice and make a more stringent law that will serve as a deterrent to people who may have been thinking to indulge in such deadly acts.
Also speaking, the member representing Nnewi North constituency and chairman House Committee on Gender, Social Development and Children Affairs, Honorable Nonso Okafo, stressed that government must do all it could to put an end to the evil trend. In his comments, the MD and CEO of ABS, Chief Uche Nwora, represented by the Director, News and Current Affairs, Mr. Geb Obaleze, said the members of the association as women and mothers are in the right position to fight against rape and encourage them to help the society to eliminate anything that can lead to rape.
We can help the society by making sure that we eliminate anything that can lead to rape. Rape is so inhuman, it's so ungodly, and it's not encouraged in any form. ABS as an organization share in this goal. That's why we are also making sure that we don't allow people to miss the sensitization program.
At the Anambra State Police Command, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. John Abang, represented by the Police Public Relations Officer, SP Haruna Mohammed, commended the group for the sensitization exercise. He assured the Anambra that anybody who is found wanting on the issue of rape and other crimes will be prosecuted. Also speaking at a senior staff of the ABS, Mr. Ugo Afekelo described rape as an anomaly in Igbo land and stressed the need for proper home training as well as men joining hands together to fight the war against the crime. For the publicity secretary to the association, Mrs. Nkiru Nwabo, increasing cases of rape is a dangerous development and call for death sentence against culprits to help curb the menace. In Oka, Queen Anibogu, ABS News.
Moving on, Onitsha community has received a delivery of 150 10 kilograms bags of rice and 12,000 cans of grand malt drinks from the International Breweries PLC, a subsidiary of Abimbev family. The items, which were presented by the Corporate Affairs and Sustainability Manager of the brewery, Mr. Chumo Munna, was received by the traditional ruler of Onitsha, Igwe Nemeka Achebe, in company of his cabinet members at Imobi Oka Road, Onitsha. Correspondent Emengini Osadebe was there for the ABS and filed in this report.
In his address, Chief Umunna described the donation as part of the brewery's community effort to combat COVID-19 pandemic in the community, saying that the gesture has been replicated at various communities of the state and beyond, enumerating other items donated to the state government to cushion the effect of the pandemic and also help in the fight against the virus. Chief Umunna maintained that the gesture was to thank Onitsha community for their support and expressed hope that the items will go a long way in cushioning the effect of the lockdown on people, while promising that more are still coming.
This is part of our community engagement. We are doing it in various communities. We've done for Anambra State. We gave Anambra State 100 of our sanitizers and 500 more. There's more coming. Next week, hopefully, I'll bring some more to Onitsha.
Receiving the items on behalf of Igwe Alfred Achebe, Chief Chilo Asika appreciated the international breweries for their kind disposition, saying that COVID-19 pandemic is not limited to one community but cut across all parts of the country, expressing happiness that the largesse will be extended to communities and assured judicious distribution of the items.
So we appreciate what you have done. I wouldn't say the little, the much you've done, and as you said, more will be coming. In Igbo, they say, Amaneli, Amaneweta. So we assure you that we're going to take care of this deliciously.
In their separate reactions, the President General Onitsha Progressive Union, Sir Chukwuemeke Ekwogo, and the Transition Committee Chairman Onitsha North Local Government Area, Honorable Patrick Ayamba, applauded the international breweries for the donation, which according to them has been in their nature of giving back to the society, making reference to series of societal developmental strides the breweries had engaged in the past, to include the Entrepreneurial Empowerment Program for the Youth, tagged Kickstart, and prayed for the growth of the breweries. On her part, the leader Field Operations Onitsha COVID-19 response team, Mrs. Rita Okolonji, while thanking the brewery for the donation, promised to ensure that the items will be distributed accordingly, saying that all unemployed adults, the sick, widows, physically challenged, among others, are eligible to receive the items and express their readiness to work with the brewery. From Onitsha, Emengino Sadebe, ABS News.
Saturday, the 11th of July 2020 will remain evergreen in the lives of Ndinanka in Anambra North local government area as they received palliative materials worth millions of naira from a group known as Nanka Progressives, who donated bags of rice, cartons of noodles and face masks to Nanka Patriotic Reunion. for onward distributions to 7 villages that make up the community. The gesture was part of efforts to support state government's intervention in alleviating the hardships caused by COVID-19 pandemic in the state. Here's the detail.
During the exercise, 400 bags of rice, 100 cartons of noodles and 200 cartons of face masks were given to villages with the highest population, while 200 bags of rice, 50 cartons of noodles and 100 cartons of face masks were given to other villages. Presenting the items, the traditional ruler of Nanka, who is also the chairman of the steering committee for the exercise, Igwe Godwin Ezilo, said the items were meant for the indigent people in the community to cushion the effect of COVID-19 on them. Igwe Ezilo, who was represented by the traditional prime minister of the community, Chief Kofi Obijiofo, thanked those that contributed to the exercise and called on affluent members of the public to always remember the downtrodden in their midst.
Ife akwụkwọ ndị aka elu nọ n'oke, ndị agụụ na-agụ, ndị na-enweghị ife na-alụ maka na akpọchi ebe niile akpọchi, ọ bụ maka anyị wetara ife a taa. Anyị wee na-ekele ndị niile tụrụ ụtụ ife a wee mee otu a taa. Ọ ga-adịrịfa mma. COVID-19 anyị nọ wee gaa, anyị ga-azụto.
The President General of Nanka Patriotic Union, Chief Paul Chinedu, called on the representatives of the beneficiaries to ensure that the items get to those it was meant for. In a vote of thanks, the chairman of Nanka COVID-19 response team, Chief Okeke Emezuo, while thanking the benefactors for their magnanimity, maintained that coronavirus is real, urging the people to always observe safety protocols.
Ejimafa, ndị Nanka COVID-19 response team. Were na-asị na-ebi ụnụ ụkọ ekene. Anyị ama na ọ ga-adị onene. Mana look at it happening to them. I see people na Chineke ga-akwụ ụnụ ụgwọ mmadụ kwuru mmadụ. A sị na the reward for a job well done is more job.
One of the representatives of the beneficiaries, Chief Joseph Madobuko, who is the chairman of Abuliba Nanka village, thanked the Nanka Patriotic Union and the community's COVID-19 pandemic committee, promising that the items will get to the real beneficiaries.
On behalf of other villages, when they connect to Nanka Progressive and then the COVID-19 response team committee. Even as I'm allowed by you, what they call all by him, we're going to see no evil Tanyam mother. Even I'm coming, although bringing again. So, condition me name or we will not be in the house, whenever you ever told me to us again, you don't know where to
Others who spoke during the event, including Chief Ima Ezobi and Prince Azikiwe Ezeme, called on the people to always maintain clean environment in addition to eating native foods to boost their immunity, thanking Governor Willie Obiano for all his efforts to contain the coronavirus in the state, calling for its sustenance. During the exercise, all the COVID-19 protocols, including washing of hands with soap under clean running water, social distancing, and compulsory wearing of face masks were strictly adhered to.
You're still watching Evening News on ABS television. We'll go a short break, and when we come back, as NDDC crisis deepens, House of Reps Speaker Bajabiamila says Commission has failed in its mission. And Turkey loses 7 security personnel on surveillance mission to Kurdish-held areas. Coronavirus is real. Stay alive, stay safe. Remember that wearing of protective face masks is compulsory in Anambra State. Defaulters are liable to a 10,000 naira fine, community service, or both. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Anambra, here are a few tips that will help us all stay safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. Wash your hands regularly with soap for at least 20 seconds each time. Allow the hands to dry naturally. Do not use towel or clothes. Where water is not readily available, use alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Sneeze or cough into your elbow. Avoid shaking of hands, hugs, and kisses. Wear your face masks whenever you are outdoors. Your face masks when in use must cover your nose and mouth. It is an offense in Anambra State not to wear face masks outdoors, and also if not being worn properly. The security agencies have been empowered to arrest offenders. Avoid crowds of 30 people and more. Always maintain physical distancing of 6 feet when meeting with people. If you notice COVID-19 symptoms, call Anambra State Public Health Emergency Operations Center's hotline on 0903 472 8047 or 0903 466 8319 or 0816 359 4310. This is a public service announcement from Anambra Broadcasting Service.
You're welcome back to Evening News on ABS TV. Moving on now to other matters. The Anambra State Chairman of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, Sir Norbert Obi, has described the late Chief Ebuna Amuta as a courageous and dedicated journalist who made remarkable contributions to the growth and development of the state. Speaking to journalists in Awka, Sir Norbert, who said he received the news of his demise with shock and sadness, noted that the late Chief Amuta remained committed to projecting the image of the state, activities and achievements of the state government to the outside world, both on radio and television news commentaries and programs, including the popular Face the Press. He also lauded his sustained efforts in disseminating activities and affairs of ABGA, both at state and national levels. Sir Norbert said his hard work, dedication would remain a source of motivation to upcoming journalists and consoled the Amuta family, ABS and Anambra State government to bear the loss with hope while praying for peaceful repose of his soul. And now to national news. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has said that despite the huge funds deployed to the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, the region has continued to perform below expectation. The Speaker said this during an investigative hearing on the alleged financial mismanagement in the NDDC. The House had on May 5th deliberated on a motion on the need to conduct the investigation. A lot of controversies have emerged in the Commission in the past 1 month due to criticism of the operations of the Commission. The President had in 2019 ordered a forensic audit of the operations of the organization from 2001 to 2019. The Commission is saddled with the responsibility of developing the oil-rich Niger Delta region of Nigeria. Mr. Gbajabiamila, in his remarks, said in the 20 years of its existence, the people of the region have not benefited significantly from the NDDC. While 7 Turkish security personnel have been killed after a plane belonging to the country's police force crashed into a mountain in eastern Turkey, and that's according to the Ministry of Interior. The small jet was returning from a surveillance and reconnaissance mission when it crashed into Mount Athos at an altitude of 2,200 meters, Interior Minister Suleiman Soylu told reporters. The mountain, a dormant volcano, is situated in Van province near the border with Iran. Soylu, who traveled to the region to oversee the recovery operation, said the plane disappeared from the radar on its way back to Van's Ferit Melen Airport. All on board, including the 2 pilots, were members of the National Police. The plane was on a surveillance mission over Van and the neighboring cities, mostly Kurdish-populated province of Hakkari, which lies farther south and borders both Iran and Iraq. And now sports news. The 2022 Youth Olympic Games in Dakar will now take place instead in 2026. The IOC and host Senegal have announced the 4-year delay was forced by the global health crisis generated by coronavirus and the holding back by a year of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and a slew of other major international sporting competitions. A joint statement issued by Olympic rulers, the IOC and Senegal, said the postponement of Dakar 2022 allows the IOC, the National Olympic Committees and the international federations to better plan their activities, which have been strongly affected by the postponement of the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. IOC Chief Thomas Bach thanked Senegal President Macky Sall for their exceptional relationship of trust and quality. The 4-year delay was ratified by the IOC on the first day of its conference, moved from its intended location in Tokyo to video link. Singapore held the inaugural Summer Youth Games in 2010. And that's our package on Evening News at this time. But remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ABS Television Oka, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. Do send your comments, suggestions and contributions via our WhatsApp number on 0902 3273484. You can also log on to our website www.absradiotv.com. And now the main point again. Anambra State government has taken Anambra Teaching on Air campaigns to rural communities. Market women have joined in the fight against increasing cases of sexual crimes, seek stringent laws to deter perpetrators. And as NDC Crisis Dipping's House of Reps Speaker Bajabiamila has said, the Commission has failed in its mission. And in foreign news, Turkey has lost 7 security personnel on surveillance mission to Kurdish-held areas. Coronavirus is real. Stay alive, stay safe. Remember that wearing of protective face masks is compulsory in Anambra State. The faulters are liable to a 10,000 naira fine, community service, or both. That's it on the news. I am Ife Arono Kafo. Thanks for watching. Have a pleasant night rest. Goodbye.